This is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Solution Review. Well, the most dangerous misconception for retirement is, guess what, folks? Not having a plan and misunderstanding what having a tax plan means. See, this came from a group organization of CPAs that identify with tax planning, not just tax preparation. And that big misconception that's costing retirees and individuals that are still working, business owners alike, a fortune in unnecessary taxes is knowing the difference between tax preparation and tax planning. And I've got a great opportunity for those of you listening that are high income earners and or heavy savers or both in IRAs, 401ks, and income. Or if that's going to be your sole income source is drawing down your former traditional 401k retirement that's now your IRA. Folks, you don't want to miss this. Go to taxessaved.com. That's taxessaved.com. Now, I'm going to teach you. We have a webinar recording that I just did for a coaching community where we had almost 200 people register, and a number of these folks are high income earners, but they also have parents that are heavy savers in IRAs and 401ks. So whether you're somebody older and you're saying, look, I don't want my kids to go through this because I saved predominantly 95% or more of my retirement, which we find to be the case in 95% of the cases, in tax-deferred ticking tax time bombs like traditional IRAs and 401ks. Or you're somebody saying, look, my parents are already getting hammered on these taxes because that's their sole income source, right? They don't really have a pension. They had to create their own pension, which is Uncle Sam getting his hand out and cut first by having to draw down money from their traditional retirement plans. And some of those clients don't even want to take those distributions, but the government forces those distributions on you at certain ages. Or you're somebody older saying, look, I don't want to go have my adult kids go through this. So you're referring that there's 124 trillion projected to change hands over the next 20 years, folks. And a high percentage of that 124 trillion are these IRAs and 401ks. You see, you can't Roth convert an inherited IRA. Well, I want to talk to those of you, regardless of your age, that are high income earners and heavy taxpayers and or will be a heavy taxpayer, or you've been a heavy saver and you know you're going to have to pay the piper and you're not really sure what your tax bill is going to be. Go to taxessaved.com. That's taxessaved.com. I have a very short, to the point, educational webinar on two tax strategies, two case studies using two different tax strategies under Section 179 that's been around since 1958 and Section 181 that's been around since 2006. Now, these programs that have been around for decades, folks, maybe you've heard of them, but do you know how to apply them? And for those of you thinking, well, Chuck, I'm W-2. How am I really going to save taxes? That's the great news. You don't have to be a business owner. And the other even better news is we can teach you how to become a business owner for even more tax savings without having to quit your day job by having a business incorporated into your tax planning strategies. Folks, one of those things to not miss, and I'll leave you with this, is if you've been told or you've been wondering, like, should I do Roth conversion because my income's really high or my CPA said this or said that, folks, understand this. In most cases, you have a tax preparer, not a tax planner. And understand the numbers don't lie. So by going to taxessaved.com, that's taxessaved.com, not only do I want you to watch the educational webinar, I want to get an electronic copy, be sure to request it, of the new Holistic Retirement where I did the forward in this book. And I talk about it on Taxes Save Radio. And I'll continue to talk about it because a good part of the book, and it's a short read, you can digest it, it's under 100 pages in one sitting, is going to teach you that there's not only tax raising risk, right, where they raise taxes, but legislative risk where they change the rules. And they've been doing that regularly over the last almost half decade now. Well, folks, we had unemployment numbers come out higher than expected. Our economy shrank in the first quarter. Fewer people are paying into tax rolls. Folks, taxes have one direction to go with all this deficit spending that's predicted to be $2 trillion. And that direction is not down, folks. It's up. And I want to teach you these strategies. One converted almost $1 million of IRA and used strategy to offset that entire income reporting from not having to be reported. The other was able to take a very, very high income, especially if you're in your highest wage earning years and you're getting ready to transition to retirement, and took advantage of the tax wealth approach to see how much sooner and how much he could retire, he and his wife, and how much more income they could have that they could have. Folks, you work hard for your money. Imagine removing your income and your assets from the tax system. So go to taxessaved.com, watch the complimentary educational short webinar, learn the tax strategies if you're a heavy, high income earner with heavy savings in 401k IRA, you are the one that needs to be doing Roth conversion now because the Tax Cuts and the Jobs Act is going to sunset and everybody's taxes are going up. But we know taxes are going to be trending up anyway because of where we are with our graying of our economy, right? We have more 65-year-olds in these next 5 years than 18-year-olds, which will be the first time in our country's history. And we have over 4.1 million turning 65 every year for the next 3. Folks, you work hard for your money. TaxesSaved.com, TaxesSaved.com.